But the reason I wanted to do this follow-up on my uh, with the love to Egypt and the people of Egypt was because I believe that Egyptians, have a sense of nationhood. That they have a nationality. They have a phenomenal history. Um, they are a well-established um, kingdom, as it were, a people on the land, a people who didn't go too far because the land was really a very good place to live. It was well supplied with water, and it could support a lot of people until they started screwing things up with hydroelectric, which that huge dam they built, which caused no end of problems, which were warned. People were warned not to do that, but that's where keeping the slaves busy, which has always been a part of the capital style, the what can I call them? The aristocracies of control, the bloodlines who have exercised every kind of dirty trick and inhuman practice so that they feel that they can be running the show. Uh, well, the time has come, I think, for the common people to wake up and realize that with the technologies of a modern state, we can be rendered into cattle pens very, very easily. Now, it's not going to happen, but once the potential arises in people's minds and people begin to explore those ideas in literature, just as cataclysm came into our collective consciousness when Velikovsky started writing those novels in the 60s about huge disasters. And of course, a lot of it was, in fact, practical speculation on a scientific level that indicated something back then that was considered insane, that in fact there had been perhaps one super continent which over the years had, because of faults in the magna, not magna perhaps, but the bubble of rock, which was the Earth, and the collapsing sun within, which had attracted, as a furnace will, I guess, draw in from all dimensions, until perhaps if the drain, if you will, the drain of suck, after all, is blocked, well, then you have a sphere which may be constantly in a stasis, and especially if the energy of a sun somewhere out further um, holds that gravitational balance in a perfect order. Now, of course, then we have to deal with the issue of the moon, and well, that's a tricky one right there. So much information. I'm getting way off the subject, and what I really wanted to do was address the issue primarily of the people of Egypt must find a unity, and they must find a unity which recognizes the secular nature of the Egyptian society, the religious nature of the uh, Egyptian society, the military uh, purpose and nature of the society, which is a defensive purpose, always. A military which engages in foreign operations, to me, is little more than brigandry. The United States has a horrible, 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 horrible history of the misuse and abuse of violence and power, and the history of the genocide on the land of North America, of course, is still very much understood. Now, wherever a genocide has gone down, and it sets up these vibrations of distrust, and confusion, and they're acted out on an individual level as we're exposed to whatever information we are by virtue of not only probably our genetically engaged elements in our lives, in our from our families, as it were, but the experiences of our own life and the evidence that is presented to us through the various agencies of propaganda and mischief. And there's an enormous amount of mischief, mischief where people do things what for the fun of it. It's insanity. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I'm still trying to get this idea because today I heard something that concerned me a little bit. That in fact the behavior of the military in Egypt, has been outrageous apparently. Now this can be propaganda, but I do hope that if there is some evidence of that, then the officer classes, and after all, we do live in a classed society, and the distinction, I believe, should be that there is something called honor, and honor is probity, and probity is functioning from conscience and understanding the nature of your calling or your profession. And if you're a professional general, well, your purpose is primarily the defense of your people, and that is the role for every general. As a matter of fact, that is the role for every soldier. Now, as my son clearly laid down to me today, that if anyone is involved in enrolled in any military operation, they have to understand that they're there to get killed. Now that is the insanity of the military. Now I believe that the Swiss may very well have the right idea, and that is that each individual person is capable of being a military soldier. They tried that in Britain as well. I don't think it's the way to go. I think we should be looking after at the what is that little country somewhere up in the Himalayas, Bhutan, I believe it is, where the gross national product is measured in happiness, and that is what we're looking for everywhere in the world: happiness, not riches, not wealth, not really anything, but upholding creation as lovers of life, as people who love creation, and behind creation the enormous immensity of creator personality of Godhead. Now, many people find that beyond their comprehension, and rightly, because it will always remain the greatest hidden and beautiful mystery. But there is a beautiful and beautiful, beautiful hidden mystery that has created this world, has challenged us in this world, has brought us to an understanding of what is right and wrong. And when we begin to exercise that with integrity, with probity, probity is the word I think we really need to get back in. It means we're exercising our inner judgment, our kindness, our love, and our efforts towards seeing a peaceful world. Anyway, I'm going on again, and it's the same old story. But I just wanted to say a word to the generals over there. That apparently you're having trouble with NGOs. Well, yeah, the CIA are everywhere. They have been the most outrageous of miscreants, and claiming to represent some part of the American foreign policy has done more harm to the United States than any of these Islamic terrorist cells, or who were the last people they were blaming, I suppose. It's time for Obama now to clean up his mess before he leaves, because he's clearly been a puppet, and I think if the man has any honor at all, he will carry out all those promises that he made to be elected. Now, in my view, I think if I were the commander-in-chief, and this man had been subordinate to me, and he had given me these reassurances that this is the way he would behave, and then he acts in an entirely contrary fashion, then this would be treachery. And I think the people of the United States really need to recognize that. Then I think this is a man who has been manipulated, he has been brainwashed, and then we have to ask ourselves, who are the really evil people behind this? Well, certainly the Dulles boys were instrumental in a great deal of the confusion which followed after the Second World War. And of course, they were serving the moneyed people. And the moneyed people have been for so long the people who have dominated the culture of the world. Well, folks, I believe even the moneyed people today would prefer to see an evolutionary rather than a revolutionary period. And an evolutionary period recognizes a fundamental equality not only between men and women, but between all people, all species, because we're all sons and daughters of the creative energy of the divine. There's no argument about that in anyone's mind. Sacred harmony, sacred love, sacred peace. Time now for the people of Egypt to recognize, and the army of Egypt to recognize they are the people of Egypt, and to support the rational changes that a random selection style that cleans out all the old cupboards of influence and places the hands in the common sense of the indigenous people that live on the land in Egypt. God bless everyone, and happy trails. And I hope this is useful. But boys, I don't want to hear any more of this misbehavior, either in the ranks or in the officer classes. Naguib and Nasser were honorable men. Things began to go wrong, as we all know. Well, now it's time for an opportunity to bring back a peaceful and a harmonious Middle East. The Americans need to get out of that area, and the less foreign influence, well, the Middle East is properly rendered harmonious. Let's give lots of room. Thanks for your attention. If I'm an ignorant man living on the West Coast, so be it. If what I'm offering is something useful, so be it. God's will be done. Thank you very much.